And I'm going to show you what's going on with this project I have on the wall. It's Maker's Monday. All right, this all came from a 1 yard cut of fabric. I believe it was 1 yard, pretty sure 1.5 yards. I will show you what that looked like when it was just up on the wall and open, and I'll walk you through the steps. It's super easy because all I did was cut it up and put it back together. And so what's funny is people will kind of laugh and tease a quilter about, you just cut fabric up to sew it back together. Well, that's exactly what we did, but we did it with even more with the same fabric, except this. I added some embroidery. So these are 8-inch squares, and I just went every other one. And there's a butterfly in each of these. And then more of the center of the fabric is where it was solid. So that's where I got all of this border material from. It seriously just went from yellow to pink to yellow. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or how to work with this, and I'm thrilled with how this turned out. I'm making another video that will show you more the process of the actual embroidery, and that will be coming out in a couple of days, so watch for that and you'll see more how this came together. This is not a panel, but it's got this really cute safari type print running along the bottom, and then the top of it, and then it fades back on the other side to that. Kind of makes me think of a tablecloth. It gives kind of a linen look, but this really cute animal thing going on with, looks like llamas and giraffes and tigers. Could be a chick, no, that's a goose. So that'll be cute. This is the fabric. Okay, I'm doing some playing. It's a really cute panel where this ran along the bottom, and I showed this in last Saturday's stitch-uation. And then the center of this is this pink. Well, I've gone up and just cut all that pink off. I'm going to use this to make blocks and something, whether they be large blocks or the border, I'm not really sure yet, but I'm going to use that. And I made it as big as I could. I didn't mind cutting through the butterfly because that's going to go through the seam, but for the most part, I'm really happy with that. Now, this was also really long, so I took this off and figured I can incorporate this in the quilt as well. It's about 2 inches, and I did leave a little bit of the selvage on there, which will be in the seam allowance to get that size. I may trim it down a little bit, I may not. So for now, this is done. And now I need something that coordinates with it. Obviously something probably more from here. And I really like this cross-hatched type of a print. I don't know if you can see it on there. So I don't need something solid or bold. I want something kind of light and cartoony. I don't know how to explain it any differently. So let me see what I have in my stash that looks like it will go with this and be the right colors. Now that's cute. I would imagine that in the fabric line with this, just guessing, they probably had this print that's on the giraffe, as well as maybe the print that's on that. There might even be something that's full of flowers. Oh, the llama, yeah, he's just kind of solid. Okay, so again, this will be used in it somehow, somewhere. This is going to be definitely used. And what's fun about this is where the border ended, was right here. But up here, there's some random little butterflies. So I could just let them end up where they end up, or I could strategically cut around these little butterflies and incorporate those in the block. So that'll be actually really fun. But that's what's happening with that one. The more I look at this, the less I like it. And I'm down to these. I would like to find this fabric in that color and that color. But I'm not going to buy fabric. I'm going to work with what's in my stash. And so this is actually grunge. It has the blue and some green in it. I think it could work. To me, this is more teal. This is more blue, so there's more green in it. And I wonder if it's going to be close enough. But there's green running through this. This might work. And we'll have this. Okay, I think that's what I want to do. Still liking this though. I wonder if I should do. No, I feel like I'm getting too many textures going on. This is a texture, this is a texture. So, well, that's what this is. We've got texture, texture, and this is the grunge, so its texture is different, but it has a texture. But I feel like this is soft enough, it's not as noticeable. Sorry, this one is more of a solid-ish. You know, there's nothing wrong with using both colors. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be very pink. So, and now I'm seeing some purple up here in the butterflies. That might be the only place where there's purple. Oh, there's a little butterfly. But I don't want to pull purple, even though this is like a magenta, I think. Purple family. Let's see if this is going to work for what I want to do. And honestly, I don't know what I want to do. I just know I have this cute fabric that's going to be part of my blocks. And I am also thinking, I like the idea of making these into blocks, so I'm going to cut them square and then maybe put borders and stashing on them. So what I have done, and then there's more solid. So what I've done is I have made this as big as I can, and which requires, whoops, my fan's not even on to blame this on the floor. This is me. I can make it square. I have enough fabric that I can make it square. Although if I want to make it rectangular, I had enough to have this configuration. And then this fabric right here, I'm going to use in my outer border and my binding. And I thought it would be cute to applique on my embroidery machine some sort of a thing that would coordinate with these little pictures. I could leave it blank too, but since it's kind of a focal point, I thought it'd be cute to put something in there. Now, if I was making this for someone specific, I could write a special message in it, or like the baby's name and their birth date and things like that. I don't have anyone in mind for this, so I want to do something. I still have not decided as of this moment if it's going to be embroidered or not. So, but anyway, what I did is I just laid these up, every other one. Print, and then I'm going to call this a solid. But it's basically the butterfly. And I had enough of those that every single one of these ended up with a butterfly somewhere. And then I have a lot of leftover pieces. Let me get those. I've gone ahead. I like bags, if you haven't figured that out. I like bags. Anyway, this is what's left of the yellow, because there actually was a wider strip going below this. And I cut it up into 1-inch strips. And there is more than enough, but I can make a skinny inner border with this, which I thought would be cute to pull the yellow out. I also have enough of this, which is the inner fabric from the actual yardage, but it's solid. So it's just this pink hatched or thatched print. And to make it go around this size of a quilt, I needed to make them 2-inch strips. And that will be nice because we'll have a really skinny yellow border followed by one that's a little wider in this color. And then this pink right here, I have enough to do my binding. So I've got that cut up already. I'm hanging out in its own little bag, and I marked everything. But the 2.5-inch strips for the binding, and then I had 2-inch fabric, enough to make a 2-inch border and make this stretch. So I figure if this is an outer border with the binding on it, it'd be the same color. It'll look really good. So that's my goal, is to do this yellow as the next lining out, this color as the next border out, and then this color will be the outer border and the binding. So now it's just a matter of sewing these things back together and figuring out what I'm going to do with this. I don't want to do more than sew the top 2 and the bottom 2 rows together until I figure out what I'm going to do with this, because I really don't want to sew this together and then try to put it in my embroidery machine. It's just bigger than it needs to be by doing that. So that's why it's sitting here. So what's next to do with this is to go and look at my embroidery designs, and I have a large library of embroidery designs, and see what I have that might coordinate with this. So I'm going to take a couple of these panels. So here's a llama, a lion, here's a fox and a tiger, and I believe there's a giraffe. I'm going to take, oh yeah, this one, giraffe and goose. So these are all mamas with their babies. But I want to take each of these not only to get the colors, but to see if I have any animals that are similar in style to these. I don't want it to be too different. And it might even make sense just to do some kind of a flower. I don't have any of this fabric left over. I thought it might be cute to even applique some of these flowers, just random. I don't have that. So embroidery or plain. So let's go see what my options are in my books. Okay, I have now pulled this off the machine, and now I'm going to trim it. But first, let's see what it looks like on the wall. The pink might need a little bit of a trimming because I cut it 16 inches, 8 by 16, and there's going to be a seam allowance on all the other blocks, so this is actually going to need to be a little narrower, not narrower, but shorter. Stop. It does seem a bit bright, but it matches. I think we'll be fine. Gives you an idea. Okay, so now I'm gonna trim this stuff off and then sew my rows together. I'm gonna sew these four together and these four together, and then these two rows as well as those two, so I'll have all the big blocks of this done. And then I'm gonna trim this by taking off the top. I think that's where it should come, and make it fit there and add it to that section, and then combine section 1, section 2, and section 3, and this will be in section 2. So that's what I'm doing next. I'm done. So here's that fabric. I think it was about 1.5 yards. I just cut it up, rearranged it, basically used almost all that I had, including the yellow and the pink. I don't know if you'd call them scraps, but I really did use almost everything. And then I had this piece of fabric that I liked, and I'm not sure how big it was, but I actually used all of that. It wasn't a very big piece, maybe 1/2 yard. Anyway, it is all done, and these are all my scraps. I've got 3 little pieces and a butterfly. So I got the most out of that one. 45 by 52 is my finished size. I wonder if I could get away with using this as my binding, because there's that, and it actually, it might work. I do have the fabric for this. Oh my goodness. But this is all I have, and I don't think I can. I got excited for a minute. It's not gonna happen. I am making another video that will show you more the process of the actual embroidery, and that will be coming out in a couple of days, so watch for that, and you'll see more how this came together. I do want to point out, you might be wondering, I put stabilizer in here. What did I do? If I cut it out or not? I left it in. I used a really, really lightweight stabilizer, and then it's super soft, and I left it in and made sure that it made it all the way to the seams. But we're done. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you soon.